This is the project we're going to be building in this video, which is our little farmhouse sofa table. It's made all out of 2x4s and 2x6s. And this particular plan is free. So how do you get this plan? All you have to do is, of course, like and subscribe, and then just comment down below and with your email address, and we will go ahead and shoot you this set of plans at no charge. Additionally, you can comment on any of our videos with your email address, and every morning I go through the comments, I pick out 10 lucky individuals, and whatever plans you request, we send that to your email address. Okay, so just browse through our videos. If there's a particular plan that you're interested in, just leave us a comment, like the video, and put your email address in the comment, and then we'll go ahead and shoot you that set of plans if you are one of the lucky few that are chosen every morning. That's the first thing I do. I go through the comments and give out those free plans, and we just do that every now and again just for fun anyhow. So if you see a plan you like, just leave us a comment with your email address so we have it. If like I said, if you are one of the lucky winners. Okay, so with that said, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Now, I am building this for a customer, and they had some specific dimensions. Usually we make these tables either 30 inches tall or 36 inches tall. Those are the two most common heights. And then as far as the depth goes, usually it's 16.5. So we use three 2x6s. In this case, we are changing it up just a little bit. It's going to be 15 inches deep. So we're going to have to rip all of our 2x6s a little bit. And then, so these will be 5 inches, and then it works out where these two are 5 inches and these two are 5 inches wide as well. Okay, so we're going to make it 48 inches long in this particular example, and then that's going to make our bottom board here. If this is 48, we come in 2 inches, so we have to deduct 4, so our bottom board is going to be 44 inches. Okay, and then this board here is actually going to be 40. All right, so what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and get all my parts cut, and then we'll talk about how exactly we're going to put it all together, and we'll talk about all the dimensions for all the different pieces. So let me go ahead and get my parts cut. I'll come back and then we'll go over that. All right, so we've got the bulk of our parts cut for our sofa table. So in this case, we're going with a 34-inch overall height sofa table. So our legs, I've cut them to 32.5 inches. So we have 4 legs, and then we need two 10-inch pieces that will connect our 2 legs together. And then we're going to need 3 pieces that are 48 inches. This will make up our top. Now we are going to rip all of these to 5 inches wide. And then these pieces here will make up our bottom shelf. They're 44 inches long. We're going to rip those to 5 inches wide. And then our middle shelf is 40 inches, and we need to rip those down to 5 inches wide. So I'm going to go ahead and rip all of my 2x6s down to 5 inches, and then we'll start putting this together. All right, let's go over a little bit about what we did. So what we did here is we set the table saw to 5 inches. I left one factory edge, and then so we got one. So when I put them together, the 2 cut sides will put together. So this is our middle shelf. This is our bottom shelf. Same thing here. We've got one factory edge and one cut edge. So the 2 cut edges will go together. Now, because we have 3 pieces that make up our top, what I did is I took 2, left the factory edge on 2, and this is our cut edge. You can see how that's square, that still is rounded. But then this one, the first pass through the table saw, I cut off just enough so I could square it off, and then set the table saw back to 5. And now we have 2 squared off sides. So we'll put all the cut off sides together for the finished table. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, give everything a nice light sand, and then we'll start the assembly with our legs first. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to build 2 of these leg assemblies like I have going here. Excuse me. So we have one of our 10-inch pieces, 2 3.5-inch screws through the face. Could you use pocket holes and do all that business? Absolutely, if that's what you choose to do. Now, when we're building for profit, we have to do things very quickly. Time is money, right? So that's why I would have done through the face rather than use pocket holes. There's a certain price point that we're trying to meet, and so anytime we can cut off time, that's what we're going to take those shortcuts. It doesn't really affect the build quality, pocket holes versus screws to the face. Yes, depending on how the customer is going to finish this off, they may go in and fill this in. This particular customer, we're just doing the build part. So I don't know. You know, these screw holes may bother them, they may not, but ultimately that's up for the customer to decide. So what we did is we measured up from the bottom of our leg up 4 inches. That's where our bottom shelf is going to fit. And then we measured up from the bottom all the way up here, which is 18.25. You can see the line that I drew there, and our block goes just below. And then that will give us a shelf that is centered top to bottom here, okay? So I'm just using some fence picket scrap with a couple of staples, 1-inch staples popped in there. And what this will help us do when we get our 2 legs done, it'll help us set our shelves in place. And this will just be a little helper so we can get our shelves screwed into place. All right, so I need to make 1 additional assembly just like that one. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and then after that we would build and put in our bottom shelf. So there we go. We have our 2 U-shaped leg assemblies with our little helper blocks stapled into place. Now I'm going to go ahead and build our bottom shelf. Go ahead and get that in place first. I think that's the easiest way to go about it. And then we'll do our top, and then we'll do our middle shelf. Okay, so here is our bottom shelf. What I did is I come in 3 inches, and I go ahead and put that 1.5 inch cleat in there with a couple of staples just to hold it in place. Then a couple of screws. You can use 1 5/8 screws. I used 1-inch screws because I didn't have any 1 5/8, 1.5 inch, whatever. One in the middle, and then again came in 3 inches to this side of the cleat. Okay, and so now we're ready to go ahead and install that on our leg assemblies. So that is going to be my next step. So I can show you what we did here. We've got our shelf that is sitting on these little blocks. Okay, and so pretty straightforward. And then they are flush. This bottom shelf is flush with the legs. So I put in 1 screw on both sides here. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put that 1 screw on the outside all the way around, and then we can adjust for our square to the shelf. Okay, so we'll use our big carpenter square, and we can square up our legs to our shelf that way. All right, and then we'll come back in and put in our other screw right here. And then that will be in place, and then we'll go ahead and look at flipping it upside down and doing our top. So I'll go ahead and get that done and show you what that looks like. So our bottom shelf is now in place. We have our 2 screws on every corner. You can see we're flush with our legs. And now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get our 3 pieces for our top on our tabletop. We'll get those 3 pieces put together in a similar way that we did our bottom shelf, but there is going to be a little bit of difference. And that's why we have this cleat up here. So this cleat is actually what we're going to use to hold those 3 pieces that make up our top. And then we'll have 1 piece here in the middle as well, just like we did for our bottom. So let me go ahead and get our top pieces sanded up, get them ready to go, and then we'll go ahead and put this together. So now you can kind of see what we've got done here. We've taken our 3 boards, clamped them together, and then used this top cleat to go ahead and screw our leg assembly. Now we did make sure too to go ahead and square up our legs. We came in, made a 2-inch mark on both ends, and then like I said, when we go to put our legs on, we like make sure they're good and square. Go ahead and put those in place. So now we have our middle shelf to put together, just like we did our bottom shelf with these cleats. We're going to do it the exact same way. We're going to measure in 3 inches because this will then hide that cleat. This cleat you won't really see because it's a very low profile anyhow. And this will be, of course, sitting on the floor, so you won't see it hardly at all on that middle shelf. We are going to put one of those cleats right here on our top shelf as well, but we're going to hold it back from our front edge a fair bit so that it won't be very visible. And the only reason we're putting that cleat in is to make sure that these 3 boards stay nice and flush. So this is 15 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my cleat 12 inches, and then we can go ahead and put some screws in, and that will help keep those flush. Okay, so let me go ahead and add our cleat here, and we'll build our middle shelf and put it in place and show you what that looks like. So there we have our center cleat in place, and now we're going to go ahead and flip it over and get our middle shelf put into place. Show you what that looks like. So there is our middle shelf with our 3 key cleats in place. Remember, we come in 3 inches to this side, 3 inches in from this side, 1 right down the middle. We used our carpenter square to make sure this was nice and square. We use that just to make sure our boards are as tight as they can be. And there we go. So now we're going to go ahead and put that into place on our table over here using these little placement cleats. All right, there is our middle shelf in place. So the only thing left to do are the little X's on the ends, and those are pretty straightforward as well. But one thing I do want to point out, when we're putting, so this from the outside face of our leg to our shelf works out to be 2 inches because our X is going to be an 1.5 inch X, okay? Or we might use a 1-inch X, I don't really know yet. But probably we'll use a 1.5 inch X. So we're going to come in 2 inches, okay? And so then when we put in our screw, we're going to come in at a bit of an angle here to screw this in. 3.5 inch screw. So we're about I don't know, maybe 1 inch or so, 1.25 inches off that back side of our leg here, and then just going to go in at a bit of an angle there. Okay? So now we're going to knock off our little placement cleats, and then we're going to take a 2x4, we're going to rip it to 1.5 inches, and then we'll make our little X cross braces there, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. And there you have it, the finished little farmhouse console table, sofa table, whatever you want to call it. Now, in this video, I did not elect to go through the process of adding the X's. It's kind of a little bit of a process. I'm not sure. I've done a bunch, and I'm not sure that I even really do it in the most efficient manner. So honestly, that's why I didn't show it. It gets done, but it's not super quick, perhaps not even super precise, but you know, it looks good. like I said, it may not be perfect, but you know, for the overall rustic look, I don't think it needs to necessarily be perfect. One other thing that I do sometimes on these, and you might try it yourself because you might like it, is to use fence pickets and put a back on it. Sometimes I like that, especially if you want that really extra rustic look. Put a little bit of a gap between each fence picket and go ahead and put a back on it. I think it looks really good. I've done a lot of them that way. So it's just another idea for you. But this one was 34 inches tall overall. And so these X's, what I did is I ripped a 2x4 down the middle, or an inch and a half. And then these pieces wound up being about 34 inches. And so you need 4 of them. And so that works out pretty good for one 2x4. You'll get all of your X pieces together. So your total cost on this is pretty affordable. Now we sell these just as you see it in the 48-inch length. We sell them for $150. That's what we sell them for. So you're gonna need 2 2x4s. Excuse me, 3, because you need 1 2x4 for each set of legs, and you also get your 10-inch pieces out of there. So you need 3 2x4s, and then you are going to need 2 2x6/8, 1 for each shelf there in the 48-inch length. And then what I did is I got 1 12-footer. And so our 2x4s are 5. Our 2x6s, let's call them 7. And then our 2x12, that was basically $9. So if we say, I got to do my math, 10, those two are 14, so that's 24 plus 15 is $39. So it's about right, about $100 to put it together. So, you know, it's a good money maker. It really looks nice. I have built a lot of these a little bit deeper with that back that I'm talking about, and then building a hutch top on top as well. Okay, so just some different ideas and marketing ideas. And of course we like to stage it up. Some of the other pieces that we've made, our little Adirondack chair, we have a video on that, and we have a video on our wheelbarrow, and then we have a video on our little fruit bin as well. So so if you're interested in some of those other videos, definitely take a look at it. Now here's the deal, this plan is free. All you have to do is like and subscribe, and then leave us a comment down below that you liked the video, and with your email address, and then we will email you the PDF file for the plans, as well as the SketchUp 3D model. So if you want to adjust it, or you want to use that model in your own marketing materials, if you're going to build this for resale, and you want that 3D model just to demonstrate to your customers what that product looks like when it's all done. And then also, every morning, first thing I do every morning is I give out plans. And I give out plans to people who comment that say, hey, I want this plan. So if you look at any of our other videos, you see a plan that you like, just comment, say, hey, I'd like a free plan of this. You might get it, you might not, because we give 10 out every morning. We just randomly pick comments that come through every single morning, and we'll email you the plans, okay? Along with the 3D model of all of our projects, come with the 3D SketchUp file and the PDF plans with all your cut lists and all that type of stuff, all right? So I hope you enjoy this one. Thanks for watching.